I was recently able to sit down and have a conversation with my long-term art friend. Lindsay Etheridge is an intuitive artist over at Whispering Visions. She has just over 600 followers, and yet every time she opens up commission slots, they sell out really quickly. And I am so fascinated to find out how exactly she accomplishes this. And during this conversation, I think she actually says a lot of really interesting things. And we began the conversation loosely around whether or not we should be trying to get a lot of followers on social media in order to be successful. Check it out. Don't stress out about Instagram, because there are a lot of young artists in particular who are obsessed with it. They see big artists get popular really fast, and then they can't. They start to actually think it's because they suck. And so there are a lot of people who are saying that you should not make art for external gratification. Just do it for yourself. But but what if you have to earn money? Are we supposed to just be okay with not growing? Because it's wrong to search for external gratification? Where's the line? You and I have been uploading art for literally 20 years. And we are not internet famous.
No.
And we aren't even at day job level status yet after 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's because this whole time we've been doing it for ourselves and not paying attention to growth and likes.
There's a lot of questions there.
I know, and I don't know where to go with that. That's why I'm so frustrated lately, because I'm just okay, well, what do you do then?
Yeah.
If you can't do one or the other, where's the balance?
The way I view it, when it comes to your career, it's basically marketing. And I was telling you this before, showing yourself and getting yourself out there, but not catering. I think there has to be that balance, but I think if you want to make it your career, you have to utilize, the stuff that you have available to you.
Nice.
You can't just post yourself on the internet and then kind of wait for it to become famous. You actually have to put in the work. It's hard. Being an artist is a hard job, but it's also we enjoy doing art and stuff like that. And
I just enjoy the freedom, and also everything that you do is for yourself, right?
Because you'll have your certain style and people are gonna really like it and they're gonna want to buy it, or there's people that are gonna be it's not my style, it's not my type, and which is fine, right? What they see, what they like.
That's why I don't think competition between artists is a real thing.
It's not. And when people view it that way, it's kind of sad. When it comes to having art as a career and popularity wise, you have to utilize what is available to you to get out there more. For instance, because I keep on going back to Instagram. I used to not be into Instagram. I was always the Facebook person, and that's how I kind of gained my following. Not that I have
Facebook
a huge
still
following.
Works really well for a lot of people.
Yeah, totally. And then I started with Instagram, and it took a while for me to get used to Instagram, but now I'm starting to understand how Instagram is used and utilizing it to get my stuff out more. Of course, I don't have the time right now because of being a stay-at-home mom and my kid gets into school. I plan to really utilizing to its full capacity to get out there more, right?
The only problem, I find that at some point you kind of plateau. I've collected as many people as I could, and now it's unchanging. There's never any new. It's always the same baseline.
So that means what is it that you have to change up in order to...
Yeah, I don't know.
So I know for me, and I don't know how it's going to be once Kaylin goes into school. I don't have time for the things that I kind of want to do. Contests. And I know that you say that doesn't really work because it's just people wanting free shit. Well, I honestly wouldn't put my name into a draw that I wouldn't want in my house.
Well, yeah.
I know contests really, really work in getting your art out there because people see that and I really, really want to win this, so I'm going to write down my name.
That would make sense for Facebook. It wouldn't make sense for videos.
No, not
because
videos.
People won't watch videos.
No, you need to, it's Instagram and Facebook. If you had a huge following on YouTube, then yeah, sure, that would probably work and you get most of your clientele from YouTube.
I wouldn't do it for that reason. It would be more a gratitude thing, I think. Because the whole point of giveaways is subs, but you don't want subs.
No.
I wish I had fewer subs.
Okay, well, this is the thing. Subs or likes or followings and stuff like that. This is a pattern I've been seeing. People, especially on Facebook and Instagram, who put in a contest. They'll be like, to enter, you need to like this page, follow this page, tag 5 friends below. And new people and coming in, right? But for me, because I want people to like me because they actually like me. Exactly. And they want to follow me. So what I do, I want my art to be seen by other people, but I also want people to genuinely like my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't say, like this page, follow me, or whatever. Mm-hmm. What I do say is, if you want to be entered in this contest, just say, enter me. And if you feel pulled to, and you want to share with your friends, go ahead and do that. I don't tell them you have to share with your friends, you have to do this. But I notice, like, when people want to be entered into something, you get more views because I think it boosts your rhythm on Instagram and Facebook when the more people comment.
Right.
So people are seeing.
So it just happens naturally.
It happens naturally. Like, that's just what I've noticed, right? Now I know people that actually genuinely want to win the work that I did are genuine. Like, they're not like,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Instead of just like their Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
Commenting?
It's like,
okay, I kind of get that.
Yeah, their Uncle Joe commenting, or they're tagging people that don't really want to win. They're just tagging it to win stuff. You know, they're just tagging their friends to win it. So they're just
they're not being thoughtful about who to tag.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want my work to resonate with you. I don't want like random people to be like on my page that don't really care about it. You know what I mean?
I guess that makes sense because like when you have a thing like that, like a marketing like that, and you have language such as like, follow and share with blah, 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 it introduces a sort of transactional feel around it and makes people a little bit suspicious. Like maybe this is an ad.
Yeah, it does. It feels like an ad, and it feels like you have to do this in order to enter.
So you're thinking of it more as I put my gratitude out into the universe and it just comes back.
Like, I actually want them to feel like I appreciate them. Some people might not be able to buy anything from you, but them supporting you by like going, holy crap, I really like this painting, and just sharing posts that they resonate with means a lot. Not like, hey, you have to work by like tagging people that probably don't give a shit about the work that you do.
And everything just feels not sincere when you take it from a marketing perspective. Like I go to like a cat subreddit and I'll post a painting I did of a cat. It's perfectly relevant because it feels like I'm doing it because I want people to see it. For some reason, it feels too transactional to me. Like it feels like I'm just trying to get something from somebody.
And most people I find do share. I guess that wouldn't make very much sense that people would share a lot because they would probably, like, if they like it, they would want to win. Why would they ask?
That's a good point.
Right? But like, I never found a problem with that. Most people actually take people that they think genuinely want to win it.
And one thing I have noticed about your practice is that the people who like you seem to like really like you.
I think it's because genuinely people are curious on what it is because it's something super new.
I feel like it's less about the sheer numbers and more about the strength in each relationship.
Oh, like relationship with people?
Yeah. It's one thing to have 1,000 so followers who kind of like what you're doing. And it's quite another to have like 10 people who want to be friends with you.
It's actually such a great time to be an artist because you have this technology.
It's interesting though, like the balance, because you've given so much new power. But at the same time, it also has introduced some new gigantic, equally terrible problems, such as comparing each other's work and stress and likes and followers.
I think that part has something to do with your internal work. That's something up that you have to like work on within yourself, right?
I feel like we all have this opinion on the internet as being like a billion eyes are on you, but what it really is that it's just a billion eyes everywhere. Mm-hmm. And no one can see anything unless you grab them and show it to them. This year, I feel like I have done so many more commissions than I've ever done.
Yeah.
While I'm not there yet. But at the same time, like, I feel like the biggest thing that I've done that's new is seeing posts of people saying, I need someone to draw my cat. Those posts are actually out there. Found so much more luck just sending them a message, like a direct message being like, I can do this. This is my stuff. This is what I do. Because that's like a hot lead, and those are people who are actually like looking, and they don't even know I exist. They've never seen anything I do, but now they do because I found a place to put it where someone's actually looking, compared to like just posting on Instagram and
just
walking away.
Hoping someone...
And just hoping, because like what Instagram is your giant folder of art.
It's like, here, just to see if someone notices it. And that's part of the work too, though.
Yeah.
Doing that and looking at people is part of the work that you need to put in.
Yeah.
But then also is like making sure that they know where they can find you on Instagram too, because they're going to have like, you know, I know most of my work when I first started with intuitive paintings, their friends see it. That's how it started rolling. First, it was people that I kind of knew. And then it was like their people were seeing my work and they're like, oh, I want one too. And then they come to me, and then their people, and then their people.
I am so fascinated by that. I'm really fascinated by how much that happens to you. Is it everybody? Or is it just like one or two of your clients that just really want to help you? I guess you don't really have that kind of insight.
I don't know. I would have to go back to thinking of like when it really kind of all started.
I'm curious.
And a friend came to me and asked me to paint, because she's spiritual, right? And it was like we had that connection already. For me to paint her friends, to paint their soul, basically. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll do that. And I did that. I posted it as like an intuitive painting. People kind of noticed it in the metaphysical area, because I knew a couple of people, because I would go to workshops and stuff like psychic development classes and stuff like that, and I would meet people through there. So I was actually meeting people, but it had nothing to do with art.
Exactly.
It had everything.
Secret. I think that's
I think it had everything to do with like spiritual aspects. So I'm like thinking like if you were like the animal portrait, you'd
hang out with
people who have animals and stuff like that. But like, I went to like workshops with psychic development. It had nothing to do with art. I didn't know, but like people started finding out that I did paintings. They didn't ask for any paintings at the time, but that's how I knew it, and that there was that connection. And then there was this one time, I guess we were doing a swap, me and you. This is how my intuitive paintings came to be. I did an intuitive painting for you. I ended up writing a channeled message with it, because when I was painting it for you, I was like, holy crap, I'm getting like these messages that are coming through for this painting for you. So I had to write it down. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a channeled message with this painting.
Oh.
So I would say after yours, this painting started. Mm-hmm. This girl I met through the psychic development class. It came with a message. She worked like as a Reiki healer. She knew a lot of people, and then that's when it kind of started coming. To help me get out there more in business, like I took an intuitive business coaching class with a lady, and I started meeting people through her. This lady I met, I did trades. Like if they wanted to give me a reading, I would give them a painting kind of a thing.
Right.
This one I did for a lady in Australia. We did a trade. And I joined her mama group where like we talked about being mums and stuff. I can't really totally remember it. This girl I knew from the psychic development class too, right? And she is now a teacher. So she has my paintings up for her students to see.
So this just reinforces my suspicion that in-person stuff still has a lot of power.
It does have a lot of power. I'm not saying like it doesn't.
It's not even marketing or networking. It's literally just making friends, but also not being like me, where I'm too embarrassed or shy to like say that I'm an artist and I do art stuff.
And I go to like ceremonies and stuff like that, and usually before like ceremonies, everyone goes, introduce yourself. That really, really helped, right? I do know that I've gained a lot of people that I didn't know at all from just the internet itself by actually joining groups on Facebook, like joining metaphysical group, talking to people,
like
normal people.
You're not like paying for ads. You're not like going to networking seminars. You're not going to like giant business conferences. You're not doing all that boring shit that nobody wants to do. You're just more open about who you are.
Yeah.
And you also make friends easily.
Yeah. I guess I make friends easily.
I mean, you're a likable person.
Oh, thank you. I guess you just have to find that genre that you're into and figuring out the people that you can relate with, right? What kind of artist you are. I think you probably laugh at me if I say this, though. I think you're an intuitive artist. There's just some sort of energy that comes with your painting. You have this connection with nature with your work. I feel like art is like a self-discovery of who you are.
That's kind of like something that I wish we could do for like everybody, because I know a lot of people know how to draw stuff and make art and stuff, but they don't know exactly how to harness that, where they're painting from their heart, or they're painting something that is a healing process, or like they're doing like, I think that's something that a lot of people who are starting out struggle with. We're like, I don't know what to draw right now, blah blah blah.
I think it's also is your personal style too, finding your personal style and sticking with it and not being so hard on yourself, right? Because so many people are so tense when it comes to art. It has to look right, and
I don't compare my artwork to others. And it's not just because I feel like my art is good. Like, I think my art is good enough. Sometimes I mess up stuff, you know? That's part of the internal gratification thing, where I feel like if I'm painting something for myself, I think my art is like the only thing in my entire life I actually feel confident about. Like, that's the only thing that I will ever defend. I never really compare my artwork to others or think like my artwork ever is like worse than somebody else's, even if it is. Because it's more than just aesthetic. At certain points, like it's just like I was working through a thing when I made this, and it has so much meaning, and it reminds me of blah 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 blah. And at that point, like, it doesn't matter, or even if other people like it, because it's not for other people.
It's kind of funny because that's kind of like what I do, only the opposite. So when I'm doing an intuitive painting, I see like spirit goes, "You need to draw a mountain with a fairy on top." I'm like, okay. And I can't get away from it. Being correct about everything and making sense goes out the door. Kind of funny because it turns out to be the most interesting, cool pieces. I've questioned it before I painted it because I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? Do a rhinoceros with a fairy on top. It turned out to be a really cool painting. And it had a meaning behind it to them. When I was painting, there was like no meaning at the time. I was just channeling the painting, right? Until like I was finished the painting and I started writing down the messages that came through for the painting. Listening to my spirit was like a really great art teacher. I think a lot of people can benefit from listening to their intuition while doing their creative art process. Your physical mind of trying to make things look perfect really like screws you up.
I've noticed like a big theme in what you're saying, apart from appealing to other people in a friendly and non-narcissistic kind of way. I'm hearing that you are doing a lot of things that would scare a lot of people, like going to events and meeting strangers.
Yeah, I think that comes with like just being brave and like getting out of your comfort zone, part of your work. You know, for instance, when I worked retail and I pierced ears, I was like, oh my gosh, how the hell am I going to do this? I did the training and I wasn't still comfortable of doing it, but I had to do it because it was my job, right? And then the more I got used to it, the more confident I got. And
then you're more open to like things that are even scarier than that.
Yeah, totally. If you don't go out of your comfort zone, you're not going to move. Nothing's going to change.
Nice.
Sometimes things have to change in order for you to move forward.
This whole pandemic, I feel like we've been on pause.
Yeah.
And before that, I was doing scary things like renting a table at the flea market every weekend. And then suddenly, those were my first commissions that I ever got.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have happened if I had still been doing like upload YouTube video on Thursday, post on Instagram every day.
Yeah.
You know, like, because that stuff is all comfortable and easy.
I also think, too, that you have to be moldable. So if something happens, like this pandemic, you say things are on pause because you were going out more. What other things? You kind of have to think. You have to think of like, what else can you do? Because if you don't utilize what you have and your resources and you don't do anything, you're not going to move anywhere. Yeah. So if something's not working, you kind of have to go, okay, what can I do to change it up?
What is one thing that I could do that is just one step above what I'm already doing, but it's something that I feel uncomfortable doing?
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
You know? Something that's like...
Yeah, totally.